America is, especially compared to just 20 years ago, is extremely, extremely jaded. You know, if you look at us as a country, look at our gross domestic product, what the country's worth, it's been improving for the last 50 years, steadily improving year in, year out. But one thing that hasn't been improving, and that's the wages of the workers. And this is whether you make a little amount of money or even a lot of money. So there is extreme profits being made, but wages should be following, what people make should be following this same trend, and it's not. But one reason is because of this ability to use people making money off of interest, their ability to just make this money out of nowhere. So this law, Islamic law, in terms of economic, I really agree with it wholeheartedly, and it's really something that, in my experience, I actually spoke with someone about this, and I said, yeah, you would just do this, you do that, you know, it's all just math, you know, and you can, you know, make money. And I was like, how are you supposed to compete if you're not using interest? How are you supposed to compete with these people? But the point isn't not to compete, because by competing, you're then playing in their game, which is then just perpetuating this evil into society. So that's something else that I've learned, and I'm very eager to apply into my future. One other thing that I found interesting that was you're not supposed to do in Islam is gossip. To me, this is something that's common sense. I like to be very direct, speak right to people if there's an issue, or if just anything, I want to resolve something, move forward to something, build something. I don't necessarily like to go to middle parties and talk about it, but this idea of gossip is haram. And in terms of building relationships, if you are gossiping about others, it makes it real difficult to trust people. And if you're building strong communities, this idea of trust, I believe, is essential to do this. So I'm applying this to my life, where maybe in the past I would make an excuse, oh, this person enjoys talking about it, it's not a big deal. You know, I'll cut it off and present it and really, once I find out about it, I would try to inquire more face to face with the person, and then, but maybe make some excuses why to continue this relationship with them. Where now, like I said, these clear guidelines, whether it be how to pray, whether it be how to practice your eating habits, other hygiene habits, you can practice your financial habits. Here's another one in terms of relationships, where this time of practicing it, it gave me a very easy way to decide if this person who's gossiping is valuable to me in my growth moving forward. So again, I found that pretty interesting to know of it, practice it in the past, but then apply it immediately into my everyday life. Some other experiences, looking like this, I will just talk about real quick. I will tell someone that I've recently converted Muslim, they'll be interested. Oh, why did you do that? You know, some question like that. But most people do not, unless I bring it up. Most people, they have no idea that I'm Muslim or not. But the other day, I was working, and there's a lady who comes up to me, and she starts talking about religion, just randomly comes up to me, and then out comes the word Christ. And I'm like, man, just thinking in my head, she's gonna have Christ save me. I just know it. And she talks briefly. I don't engage. I asked her, you seem well versed in what you're doing, and she mentioned that her husband is a priest or a pastor, something like that. And she proceeded to tell me and my coworker that we are going to be saved by Jesus. In this way of not necessarily convincing us to go towards Christianity, but what I found is I was not going to convince her to go away from Christianity either. As there is a group, I think there's 7 or 8 billion people. There's 2 billion Muslims in the world, so it's encompassing 20 to 30% of the population currently. The growth of Islam is definitely on the rise compared to other religions. And I would invite anyone to try it, but I've yet to randomly walk up to someone and push it upon them. As this lady, I believe she fell into this group that she's never going to change. Or at least I'm not going to be the one to change her. She would change on her own, she would go through her own experiences, but I believe she really enjoyed what she was doing, and she thought she was doing better for the world. So that was an interesting experience in terms of, I don't know how I would have approached in the past. I would have probably very similar. But being aware of how much this religion may be misleading those who live here on earth, I listened with a different level of intentness, as I was also